Hey everyone, this is Mike Cicchini with denofgeek.com. We're here at San Diego Comic-Con with Bryan Hill, the writer of Detective Comics. How you doing, Bryan?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
This is kind of a different take. It's not a solo Batman story. You're kind of expanding the Batman family a little bit. You want to talk about this?
Well, after the excellent work that James had done, James Tynion IV, on Detective, I wanted to take this idea of the Bat family and I wanted to challenge it. What did it mean for Bruce Wayne to have to share his legacy with other people? You know, the origins of Batman, it's about a guy who wanted to become a myth, to find the superstition in the criminal landscape, to use fear against people who cause fear. So the big question of the story, can Batman still be that creature of fear if he's sharing his legacy with all of these other characters? Does it make him too familiar? Is he turning himself into a brand? And by doing so, is he diluting the effect of what he can do for Gotham?
Jefferson Pierce asks him, what does Bruce Wayne owe you? And Batman says, he owes me his life.
Right.
And can you expand on that a little bit?
The creation that is Batman was the way that Bruce Wayne was able to reconcile the trauma in his life, right? That little boy who watched his parents get killed, Batman was the only way he could funnel all that emotion into something that would allow him to have a life. So for me, Bruce views Batman as the key that unlocked him from the dungeon of his own trauma. As readers start to see this relationship between Jefferson Pierce, Black Lightning, Bruce Wayne, and Batman unfold, you're going to see revelations from the both of them that speak to who they are, what they have in common, and also what they have that separates them in terms of perspective. I mean, they're two characters that essentially want the same things, but they have very, very different methods. But in that moment, I think Bruce was admitting something powerfully honest, even if Jefferson wasn't quite able to understand all of the meaning. But he comes later, and when he realizes that Bruce Wayne is Batman, I would imagine that line has a resonance for him, that he thinks about that a little more.
Jefferson Pierce is a teacher in the traditional sense. Right. Batman is a mentor and a teacher in a lot of kind of non-traditional ways.
Almost a hyper-traditional sense, right? Yeah.
I guess so, yeah.
Like Jefferson's a postmodern mentor, and then Batman's a mentor in almost a classic mythological sense. Well, I used to teach. I went to NYU, came out of NYU, and did a bunch of things, worked in marketing for a bit, and one of the things I did was also I taught. I was a substitute teacher for a little bit, and I just kind of bounced around schools and did all that. Education's very important to me as a person. Education is the reason why I'm sitting here right now, doing what I can do, is because I had teachers that invested into my mind and my future and guided and shaped my ambitions and my dreams. If we don't have those people in our lives, we never really are able to realize our potential. So it was very important for me, for that aspect of Jefferson, to not just be like a bullet point in his character. Well, Peter Parker's a photographer, but doesn't really seem to care about photography. Right? And I didn't want it to be like a note. Like, I wanted it to inform his life as both a teacher in a school, but also as a superhero. And I think the biggest difference between Batman and Black Lightning is Batman heads out thinking about what he can stop, and Black Lightning heads out thinking about who he can save. Right? And the combination of those factors, that yin and yang kind of aspect, I think is the strength of that partnership, and they'll both come to realize that as it continues on in the story. What I wanted to do with this story really is bring someone in like Jefferson who has a different point of view on this group of Gotham heroes. And for the reader to be able to see them both through Batman's point of view and through Jefferson's point of view. So there's going to be a collection of characters that are going to be touched by this narrative and affected by this narrative going forward, whether it's me writing stories or not. And I think it's really important for readers to know that the events of this arc will have an effect, a ripple effect, across the DCU, especially across Batman's world. I was a kid, my father died when I was 7 years old, and it was cancer. No one shot him or anything, but I still had the loss. And the day I found out that he passed away, I walked into a comic book store, and I think it was Batman Year One in single issues or something. The cover was little Bruce Wayne sitting in the spotlight, holding his parents' hands, right? And that was a mirror for me. And that helped me contextualize what I was going through. Because Bruce Wayne was going through the same thing. You know, the loss and like coming out of it and trying to figure it out, and the adolescent anger that comes from that kind of trauma, I kept going back to Batman, thinking about, well, Bruce figured out a way to do it. What would Bruce Wayne do? You know, how would he do that? So this character means so much to me, and I know my story isn't singular. That's the story of a lot of Batman fans. Story of a lot of comic book fans. I mean, we fall in love with these characters because their heroism and sacrifice sees us through our own darkness. When they came to me about it, they told me, like, yeah, you can do something that you really care about, you're really passionate about. So we're going to see a whole host of characters. They're going to be challenged and they're going to struggle in different ways. But I don't want to give away the roster here on wherever this is going to broadcast.
Okay.